101 Safety. Personal protective equipment, respirator requirements, hearing protection, eye protection, shielding from the view, proper clothing, working area, fire protection, proper timber structure, open on track safety, equipment condition, weather restriction, fire explosive, potential abrasive wheels, shifting, inspection, handling, storage, operating abrasive tools, observe the work zones, abrasive wheels types, cutting damage rail, cutting rail, compression and tight rail condition, hydraulic safety, and equipment safety. 101 Personal protective equipment track welding rules may be restricted within the state of the safety force manual and issue of the electrical arc welding, oxyfuel cutting, thermite welding, abrasive cutting, welding, goggles, shield shades, face shield, welding, hood, hearing protection, leather welding, gloves, white welding, red jacket, respirator, leggings, minimum requirements refer to 101.4 with the eye protection, proper shading, wrap around the face shield with the goggle with the shade with the gas with the one must be a shade of number 5 with the mono glow with the XRT a shade with the number 5 with the safety glass could be with the alternative wrap around the face shield with the goggle with the shade with gases on the number of shade 5 with the binary thermite weld 3 heat pouring process wrap around the face shield with the goggle safety goggle with the required with the remove with the bowl with the clean weld with the include with the mono glow goggle XTR with the safety goggles, welding sleeve with the maybe worn with the place with the jacket that protects the arm with including thermite breakdown, refer to current respiratory policy, safety resource manual with the minimum requirements, wrap around the face shield with the goggle with the safety glasses, shade number 5 with the must not be worn. Leather welding gloves are required to remove the clamp, jackets and slag pan with the gloves are required with the packing with the molds. Both leggings are required to be worn. Approved with welding, hood and grind mode and can be with the alternative required to eye protection when brief with grinding. 102. Respirator requirements. Respirator requirements are applied with welding performing hazard activity to have the information unit specific to the respiratory protection program can be found with the safety resource manual section. Even the section provides information on the job task requirement. The use of the respirators. Respirators must be selected. Current Union Pacific respiratory protection program safety rules in Section E of the Appendix B with the OPRs are ORR safety product catalog. 2 documents accessed online with a UPR Union Pacific Railroad employee. The home page under workplace safety at homepage Union Pacific Railroad.com and EMP operating C safety index. Employees performing activities with the task of the required with the respirator must at least wear with a minimum level of respiratory protection listed with the minimum respiratory type of the column of the respiratory policy. Respiratory offering higher protection listed under the other approved with the respirator type column. Carbon arc cutting, welding, or repair frogs, cast diamond with the other track with a combination containing more than 2% magnesium required with the use of the respirator and half phase of the air prey. Putting respirator, use with the track fan and 3 axle blower must be used with the powered air purifying respirator. Use with the track fan is not required but recommended for better visibility. 101 Hearing protection. Improve the hearing protection must be worn. Use with the powered equipment, including the electrical arc, welding, abrasive wheel cutting, grinding with oxyfuel, other gas fuel, gases, pneumatic tools, hydraulic tools, and gasoline powered. Eye precautions. All person performing observe the welding, cutting, heating, and operation must wear with the proper eye protection over the personal protective equipment. They must not look over the oxy-fuel claim and electrical arc unless they are properly protected. Must be worn other against looking at the flame of the arc. Refer to table 101B below with some of the minimum shade requirement of the eye protection performing the track of the welding, heating, and the cutting operation. 101 show the minimum shade requirement of welding operation. Shielded metal arc welding electrodes, and then shows the flux cord arc welding, carbon arc cut gouging and oxy-fuel welding, cutting, and heating. Correct filler glasses, lenses, and shades must be replaced immediately. Shade numbers of the filler plate if it's not added. For example, the number 6 and the number 8 fillers do not have the same density as the number 14 filter. 10141 shielding from view. Welders must warm in the other, particularly the eyes, and shield to prevent injuries and fixes. 1015 proper clothing. Electric arc welding, carbon arc cutting, oxy-fuel cutting, heating, and welding. Wear approved with the hearing protection, approved with the footwear, leather welding gloves with flame-resistant clothing, protect with the skin, infrared, ultraviolet radiation, cover the arms, reduce the possibility of the catching fire. As all buttons snap fast and has sleeve with the pocket secured with again sparks or flag free with the oil greases without cuffs. Also with the minimum approved with the full welding jacket with the welding sleeve with approved with the welding bag with the U with the PAPR welding helmet shroud must be attached with the welding helmet that function with additional protective outwear such as leather apron, leather leggings, splats, welding jacket, the welding sleeve shall be worn on application of the clothing, the body with the danger being exposed to sparks, hot legs, arms must be covered. Short sleeve with the shirt with the non-acceptable. All button with the jackets must be buttoned. The sleeve of the pockets must be securely against with the sparks and the hot slab. The abrasive wheel with the cutting grinding with the arms must be fully covered. The approved with the welding jacket, the welding sleeve. Do not carry up lighters and matches during the hot work operation. 1016 cleaning work area. Do not use ungloved, bare hand brush slag metals bearing material being welded or cut. 1017, Fire Protection. Following instruction of Union Pacific Railroad Fire Protection Policy Guidelines document Engineering Department Fire Prevention Plan where available the Safety Resource Manual. 1018, Protection Timber Stroke before leaving the worksite. Employees charged with the making of the no fire hazards exhibit the fire risk when completing with the hot work tab. They must adhere with all the requirements written with the Engineering Fire Prevention Plan, which includes a potential fire hazard. One person must remain on the job site for at least 2 years after the 2 hours work after work complete, with which will be signed with the smoke of the fire. The person must have at least 5 gallon water, round, nose shovel, and communication capable of the calling for help. 1019. On-track safety. Refer to the Chief of Engineer Instruction Bulletin 136 of the Bulletin. Explain with the on-track safety requirement of all of the roadway work of the Instruction Bulletin. Conform with the FR regulation roadway protection for the purpose of the bulletin and prevent the accidents and injuries from railroad car, locomotive of the roadway machine with the strike of the roadway worker of the machine. 10110. Equipment condition. Inspect all of the equipment and ensure the free of the deck of the proper of the work condition. 10111. The weather restriction. Electrical arc thermite welding in extremely wet weather is prohibited. Do not run welding cable to the electric cord through the water. Allow with the lying of the standing water. Do not wear the wet glove of the operating electric equipment. Improve with the welding tent with the shell at the top of the key with long as the weather, the wind restriction are meet. Light rain, select snow with the midst of the light wind conditions. Long with the tent that can be maintained with the plate for the function. Tent with a note. Mesh top tent without solid top cover. The plate cannot be used with the wet weather condition. Welding tent will not be used for cutting, grinding, welding, and track component with contain more than 2% of the magnesium. ESEO. Welding tent store stock number and 380 7895. IRS welding tent store stock number 380 7890. If the ground covered with snow, all snow must be removed with the welding disposal areas before starting with the thermite welding process. Do not begin with the thermite welding process during the light rain, sleet, snow, with the mist, unless the entire process of the protection of the wet weather. All precautions must be taken to avoid the injury with the defect of the welding. And the welding process is already in progress. An antimeter is required to determine the wind speed. 10112 of the fire explosive. The potential welding, cutting, and heating on piston head of the hollow casting and the container such for the drum and the barrel of the tanks is prohibited. 113 abrasive wheels, and then it showed the 11131 shipping inspection with abrasive with the wheels. Receipt with the original shipping container with the must be inspected with the damage. The moisture with the container with the damage. The preserve with the abrasive with the wheel with the must be inspected. Any abrasive with the wheel with the damage is inspected with the damage with the must be accepted. They are put into service. They do not use the abrasive wheel if they are chipped, cracked, with worn, broken, water, oil soaked. 101.13.2 handling all abrasive wheels are breakable, therefore they can be extracted by the handle and storage to prevent damage of the 101.13.3 storage abrasive wheels shipped with the pellets may remain with the store pedal until the rear to leave. The abrasive wheel storage must not be exposed to water. Other stuff in the abrasive wheel the storage must not be exposed to the temperature, humidity condition that can cause condensation of the wheel. Suitable jack racks, bins, boxes supervised with the store with the various type of the abrasive wheel. The abrasive wheel the storage should be rotated with the oldest wheel will be used first, and the most abrasive wheel function manufacturer recommendation shall apply with the 2 years for the properly stored abrasive the wheels. 101.13 forward, other tools of the abrasive the tools with the where all required personal protective equipment adhere to all Union Pacific fire prevention policy for the operating abrasive the wheel. Equipment that includes this work over the necessary with the half of the minimum number of the round, no shovel of water of the fire prevention plan. Spindle speed with the grind with the rail saw with the must be checked with the periodic ensure the operation from the optimum does not exceed with the minimum operation speed with the marked with the abrasive wheel. Hydraulic power cutting, grinding equipment. Hydraulic power source with the periodically tested and ensure the proper hydraulic pressure flows. The blotters must be with the flange of the abrasive wheel stone with the strip to ensure the uniform distribution. Flange of the pressure flange must be the same. The blotters should cover the entire contact area of the wheel stone flange. Only Union Pacific approved with the brace for the cutoff wheel with the grindstone may be with the RPM rating of the brace for the wheel stone with the must meet or exceed the RP rating of the power equipment that is being used. Prior to use the new abrasive wheel, the operator must free with the spin for the 1 minute during the period of the time when the operator must check with the machine with excessive vibration. Should the excessive vibration of the machine will not be used until the cover identified with the correct abrasive wheel with the tone with cold. Apply grinding force gradually uniformly to prevent thermal shock, which may cause the wheel to break. With the abrasive wheel stone must be fully speed with the contacting metal. Do not handle rail saw grinding it in such a way that the damage of the abrasive of the break of the power. Do not operate ground with the rail saw without proper guarding. Shield immediately replace with the broken and hissing guard of the shield. Rail must be supported by the air with the cover, the preventing grinding with the wheel slow with the speed with the rotation leading with the glade of the brace wheel. Compressive forces must be relieved and with the preventing pinching of the glazing with the brace wheel. All brace of the wheel should be used only with the machine that provide with the safety guard with the following exemption: mounted wheels 2 inch small in diameter, with the portable operation bowl with the burring to grindstone. 101.13.5 of the observed work zones. Adhere to the following work zone with observe the brace of the wheel equipment and employee operating cutting or grinding equipment must not stand closer than 15 feet from the equipment rail saw, but do not stand on the wall with the front of the rail saw while operating. Grinders do not stand or walk in paths of sparks. 101.13.6 the brace of wheel type. The brace with cutoff oil with the grindstone with the limitation must be handled with a U to prevent the damage of the potential injury. Listed below are some of the brief of the most widely engineering department. Type 8 by 8 and 1/8 by 5/8 inch straight slot wheel with the wheels have a diameter thickness for the whole side of the dimension. Grinding should be performed with the peripheral outer edge, but it does not preclude the application of the sliding rail end with the wear recognized with a little amount of the side corner. Grinding will be performed. Extreme caution should be exercised, not excessive side pressure. Figure 1A show the type 1 straight sliding wheel. Type 27 wheel provided a 7-inch, 9-inch grinding diff. The manufacturer flat grinding rims over the face with the design with the side grinding with a slight angle with the workpiece. Depress center wheel. Type 18 plug wheels, cylindrical shape with either square curved grinding type. The plug type wheels are mounted with a being square, screw with them through and thread ends machine spindle. The mounting a strip of the seat firmly against the unrelieved with a flat backup flange of the type 18 plug wheel. Type 1 straight stones provided with a 8x1 grinding and tin with a performed outer edge. No side with loading with a stone, although with outer edge with it sometimes you would remove the excessive metal and contouring. Type C6, Type 6 cup stone with a general U with the finishing. Remove the strip of the track component with the triumph frog's rail end with the thermite and electrical flash butts. And show with the Type 6 capstone cutting and damaged rail with the cutting twisted rail with the unscrew of the rail. Suspect with the damage with being done with the job with the damaged shield section. The type of the precaution to prevent personal from being struck with a severed section. Special equipment strap along the length of the oxy-fuel cutting tool for the burning bars with available. The operation should be U with the U with available to reach for the restraint of the rail part. The cutting do not cut the joint bar on twisted rail. 101.15 cutting the rail in compensation with a tight rail condition. Certain condition that you can cover the rail to expand, requiring the rail to be removed with the oxy-fuel cutting torch or compressed with the force because if the rail temperature exceeds the install with a neutral temperature. When cutting the rail, you have the following procedure: locate the area noticeable type of the rail condition. This can be identified rail lifting one out of the plates, ballast punching with a consecutive number with a high spike with the rail appear with a big kink with the rail straighter than the other deviation with the track gauge rail crowding tap plate with the tie screw and the anchors moving. If the track is already buckled with the main cut with the beyond with the vocal, the area with the main torch cut prior with the remove of the rail fastener rail anchors. Rail must be secured. Use the following procedure: the safety of the torch cut with the rail under the compressive forces. Use the H-band with the remove of the rail head first, with the remove of the both side of the base, remove of the remaining web portion cutting with the top of the bottom only. Remove the rail head both sides of the base first. Remove of the web last with the reduce the chance of except for the vertical and lateral movement. 1.1.16 hydraulic safety. The hydraulic system must be stored fluid for the under high pressure for four kinds of the hazards exhibit. The burns for the hot high pressure spray with the fluid, bruises and cuts, abrasion, flaying in hydraulic lines, injection fluid into the skin, links in the hydraulic fluid, mirror up in flames and swivel ignition is present. The frequent inspection and maintenance of the hydraulic system can prevent injuries. Performing inspection of the following visual inspection: hose condition, look for the damage inside of the leakage of the system, and then drive the shell of the line connections or tight lines or the not damage escaping the oil under pressure for the fire hazard can cause personal injury. Seepage must be corrected immediately. When leak is suspected, do the following: run a piece of the wood cardboard mirror along with the hose with the detect of the leak. Do that with a hand, gloved or not, for this purpose. Decontamination hydraulic oil and replace filters periodically. Save the hydraulic service system performance requirement. General maintenance pressure relief device incorporated hydraulic system will avoid pressure buildup during use. Do not remove the pressure relief valves. Only authorized personnel can adjust the pressure relief valve to prevent rupture. Do not incorporate a low pressure component with a coupler hose with the fitting of the other high pressure system. Hydraulic system must be checked and maintained and ensure the proper flow in the pressure system should be checked annually when the tools are not performing properly. When any part of the hydraulic system has been repaired with the gallons per minute, but the hydraulic flow requirements vary based on the type of the model, with the age of the tool, with the preferred manufacturer operator manual pressure for the GPM gallons per minute requirements for each of the specific tool for the operate the tool with the flow rate with the outside of the manufacturer specification. 1.1.17 equipment safety. Portable power tools and machinery equipment must not be operated without required safety guards for all belts and shaft. The other move with the part of the machinery must be fully enclosed with the guarded. Maintain equipment in proper work condition. Follow all the maintenance requirements for the specific equipment. And then 102 electric welding. Testing. 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 Testing.